Oh, we're going to mute that again. All right. Wow, I'm going to sit over here. This is a complex setup I've got going on today. I have got cameras everywhere. I know that there's something sitting between me and the camera, so I'm going to talk over here when I need to talk to the camera. But I've got a flexible camera that is just on an arm that I can move around. And that's also with a multi-view of a close-up and of me. I have the close-up camera, and that's the way I can put stuff over here and get a close-up on it. I've got the close-up camera without insets, just in case. I've got the macro camera, in case you want to see something really zoomed in. I've got the me by the computer, which is lit so much better than it was before, but I can now look things up and share that. And finally, the pièce de résistance, the crappy sport cam knockoff, the GoPro knockoff. It's called a Hero. I got it from China, but I have configured it to be my eye in the sky, replete with 1960s scan lines and Chiron logos. So hopefully, and if you want me to switch to a different view at any time, just let me know in the chat. I've finally got my chat over here. Hopefully I can see what people are chatting. If you're here, please say hi. I don't want to be talking out into the ether. Okay, so back to me. So, I need to stop saying so. I was doing some self-coaching. And boy, I tell you, I listen back and I know I mumble and I know I talk fast. I get it. But I really hate it when I say so, because I know that's a transition. It's probably perfectly normal, but it rings in my ears. Probably don't say so, like when Barack Obama was running for president and he would between everything. And at some point, like right when he was inaugurated, somebody sat down with him, a speech coach, and told him how to do the same kind of speaking without putting between everything. So I'm going to try to not use the word so. I'll try not to let it trip me up when I do. Today is July 3rd, 2026. This would have been the 67th wedding anniversary of my parents today, if they weren't, dead. So that's what July 3rd, 2003. I can link to an article on bitchin.com, my old website. But in 2003, July 3rd, a friend took me to Fenway Park. It was a business acquaintance in Boston, and he's like, "You've never seen the Green Monster, Ricky?" And he got us some scalper tickets. He didn't have to pay the sauce. I didn't even have to pay the sauce, Ricky. I got these tickets. So we went and saw a Red Sox game. Red Sox game is defined as a place where they boo the Yankees even if they're not playing the Yankees. That is a Red Sox game. I saw a wonderful game, and a year later, they actually won the World Series for the first time in like 83 years. So that's a cool story. I can link to it. It also is about 100 degrees outside, a heat wave hitting the Midwest. And finally, what you see sitting before you, at least the back of what you see sitting before you, I will try to occasionally light and show you the front of things as well. So here is the front of it, and this is an early Prusa kit printer. Before they came out with the i3 and the Mark IV and the stuff that they sell now. This is not the first generation. First generation was just a bunch of parts, shrink wrapped together and sent from a warehouse in Germany, and you put it together according to some specs on the internet. This is the second Prusa printer that came out. And It was a more well-organized kit and sold to the world. And a friend of mine, who may or may not be on the chat later, I wonder if he's coming. If there's anybody, if anybody is here, put a message in the chat. I'd like to know. I'd like to know who's here. So a friend of mine, Kevin Laughlin, KB9RLW, the old tech guy on YouTube, who's inspired me to do this YouTube, built it. It was his first 3D printer, and then at some point, when he was about to go traveling, if you ever watched his channel, he lives in an RV out west. Part of his fundraising was to sell this printer, which he hadn't used in a while, and he sold it to me. And some odd things about it, some things that you don't see a lot anymore. Let me turn this back on. I need to do something about whether the light's on or not. But so let's talk about this printer a little bit before I go into tearing it apart. So this is the Y gantry, and then the X gantry. I got it backwards. This is the X gantry. This is the Y gantry. It moves this way. And then up and down are just these threaded rods driven by stepper motors here at the top. I wonder if I actually get a wider angle on that. Is it going to let me? There we go. Stop. These bearings are just feather bearings. They work well. I have a loose belt back here because I've already taken a stepper motor off. And if you watched my live stream last week, that's the stepper motor that I was demonstrating my stepper motor testing utility with. So Kevin put this all together. I used it. Kevin invented these or found them. These supports here to keep it from shaking back and forth, which would give you a lot of error in the Z area, or in the X, Y, or whatever. It would just shake because this thing would tend to set up oscillations, which would ruin the integrity of your print. I'm not sure what he added that wasn't in the original. If he were here, he could tell us, but he may not be here. How odd. I am streaming, right? Let's one moment, please. I'm trying to contact him because I'd like him to fill in some details here. All right, let's see. He might answer me back with, I didn't know there was a stream. It doesn't look like there's a stream. But anyway, moving on. It's powered by just an old PC's power supply. And all of the indexing are just these regular threaded rods, like I said. And the problem with threaded rods like this being the indexing is there's a lot of slop inherent in threaded rods. So there's he's done a lot to take it out of these, but I will show you in a minute sort of the way it's done now, instead of using threaded rods. So one big thing about this printer is that it's a 3mm filament printer. And the problem with 3mm filament printers, they don't friggin' make 3mm filament anymore. It became almost unusable before it actually broke. I got a 1.75mm printer. I love it. It's not a great printer. And I never even remember what brand it is. It's a Voxelab Aquila, which is a clone of the Creality Ender 3. And you can get a lot more. I mean, the first Midwest Rep Festival I went to way years ago, like 2018. Nobody was even selling 3mm filament anymore. So I nursed this along. I changed the beds quite a few times, did different things with the beds. Let's see if I can yank this bed off of here. I can't. So this bed, let me get a closer shot here. So this bed here, what I did, the reason that you're seeing this kind of ickiness here, and this isn't even the worst damage I did. This is, I tried to print ABS, and I created an ABS slurry to make it stick, and it just tore the living hell out of this bed. It ruined that, and I think it's the one under this. Yeah. So what I did here, this is the real ABS damage. I'll get you a better shot. So there's the real ABS damage there. It literally tore chunks out of the top. I tried to fill it in with something that was heat conductive, and then I kind of gave up on that. And then right at the same time, once again, the which has kind of happened all the time. Oops, sorry about the jiggle. No. The sensor came back out of the head, the thermocouple. The head is screwed up. I've had to take it apart and replace it. So the print head, I didn't feel like fixing because it was 3mm. And also, there's just inherently so much error in this design, because things that are rigid are forced to be rigid. They're not rigid by nature. More modern 3D printers use 80-20 extruded aluminum, which we'll talk about later. They use ball threads, and just things that are inherently more rigid. So I'm going to start to take this apart. Oh, and Kevin is in the chat. He gave up on the 8mm of Z capacity by making those brackets to carry the weight and stop the creep. Yeah, they were a popular model. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart, and there are so many parts on this thing that can be reused for so many other projects that I want to do. There's very little of this that will go to waste. So let me take some of this apart. Some of it's just going to be cutting things because they're just zip tied on. Other things will require wrenches. I should have brought something to put nuts and bolts in. Silly guy. I'll open up a tool drawer over here and throw some stuff in there so I don't lose it. So let us begin. So I'm going to take off these Z brackets that are, if I figure out how. Unfortunately, this is these brackets are one thing I'm not going to keep. I've got no use for them. It's a very, very, very specialized part. Do you know what year you built this, bought it, Kevin? Did we say 2012? Or was it 12 years ago? I don't know. Get out the big guns. There we go. Sorry, Kev. I know this is probably a little painful to watch this happen. This chat client is terrible. How did I end up with this chat client? At least I can see the chat now. This is a chat for the wrong stream. Thank you, Restream. No. I'm using Restream, and they have a chat client. Oh, that chat client was doing the right thing. I think. You can do it. I don't know. I don't know. I do know that Kevin's looking back through Facebook history. I'm going to have to do something else about the chat. Maybe even just pull up YouTube. But I will find the chat somewhere else. All right. So I found my switch knife. I didn't have it last week. There's something about having a scalpel in your pocket at all times that makes it very, very, very convenient. All right. This might be the hardest thing to take off. Everything else is more of screws. All right. These are little GBC binding plastic things to keep filament from getting caught on the rails. So you're gonna get a little closer here and get those off. Get that away. Basically just cut off all the zip ties and then the rest of it should come right apart. All right. Where are we? Let's put down the sky. Gotta get a sense of what I'm doing here. And that way I can position this other camera without making you guys seasick. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see what other wires we need to take off here. What other zip ties, rather. I mean, I can already tell you that the other day I was regretting that I didn't have very many wires that were pre-made to run steppers. I was looking at a project and it's like, I went out and bought connectors to make stepper wires because I didn't have stepper wires, and now it looks like I've got a bunch of them, which is cool. So you've got that going for you. Although these do seem to be standard 10th inch spacing on these. I don't know. Not important. And then little fans are always nice. Always use little fans, especially for 3D printing stuff, honestly. Not powerful enough to fly a little plane, so I guess it's all about cooling. And I am just going to clip off the print head there. I think a lot of this is now going to be I just unplug a bunch of wires and see what comes out. So all right, so will my close-up camera stretch it over here? Let's see if we can repurpose this. So this is a Z-index limit switch here. This little micro switch, but you can tell that it was already failing. And it already broke in here. That's why. That's another thing that it failed on it. Some of that was just, to be honest, Kevin, just the plastic getting a little brittle. And so, and here's another limit switch up here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Right here. I don't think you're seeing it. Let's try this. Yeah, a little limit switch there. Put the close-up camera back over here. Oh, you weren't even seeing that view. Oh well. So, limit switch here. I need to pull that off. Again, clippers might work better than no. I've got a teeny tiny 8mm. Oh no, that's like 6mm. Oh, I can't even pull that off. I don't even know that I've got a socket that small. So this was the X limit switch here. I might have to get bigger clippers. That'll work. The question is, Kevin, how did you get this through this hole? Oh, I guess that fits. All right. First complete component. The whole idea of RepRap, which is what this is based on, was that the printers could reprint themselves. That was sort of the idea. If anybody knows what RepRap stands for, let me know. I really need a chat. So there's a stream. Oh, there's the chat. So, if anybody remembers what RepRap stands for, that'd be great. I could Google it. Let's see here. RepRap, R-E-P-R-A-P. you would think that actually, oh, if I spelled it right, AP stands for Replicating Rapid Prototyper. So the idea was, and that this was an open source project before Prusa even came around. It was an open source project where a bunch of people got together and said, hey, I think we can do 3D FDM printing. And they created this project called RepRap, which was Rapid Replicator Printing, whatever I said was. And then that project turned into what 3D printing is now. But you could still go out and find all the plans to make a 3D printer and make the 3D printer. Okay. All the cameras I have, I don't have enough cameras. So this board right over here, I wonder if I can turn that. So this board right over here, this is an Arduino Mega board, which was the big brother to the Arduino Uno. And on top of that is this board called a RAMPS board. RAMPS, I don't remember what it stands for. But it is a board designed for controlling steppers. So these are used in 3D printers. These were used in CNC machines, things like that, where you have to move things around in 3 or 4 axes. And so this board did that. This also has the firmware, for the board burnt onto it. I believe so. I believe the Marlin firmware, help me out, Kevin, is actually burned onto the board, to the RAMPS board, and not in software on the Arduino. Because I remember I bought a new RAMPS board so I could save this configuration. Maybe I was misguided about that. So, but the Marlin is one of the languages that's used for the G code, to interpret the G code as it moves the pieces around to print. Let's see if I can get some of these wires disconnected here. I'm tempted just to cut them, but I really don't want to do that. That just seems disrespectful to Kevin's work, if nothing else. But I will use this RAMPS board or the other one I have. So let's get to the first thing that I want to do, that I will use the RAMPS board for. I think at some point I will get a CNC machine, or I get a laser cutter for doing real stuff, like in wood shop, and replicating out of aluminum and plastic and things like that. But what I'd like to do on a temporary basis, or just kind of to see if I can do it, is to create an XY cutter with a Dremel to cut that foam that cosplayers use. You put it in drawers for tools. Why am I spacing on the name of the foam? I want to say EDF foam. That doesn't sound right. This stuff here. There's a special kind of cutter you can get for a Dremel, which I have. And then just to be able to lay out, like for a tool drawer, where you want your tools and just have it cut it. I think that would be really cool. You can also replace the Dremel with a marker and use it as a plotter. That might be interesting. But I'd like to play with that, just to learn how to do it, if not necessarily to make something that's going to make my life tons and tons better. So that was the ramps board. Getting a lot of the wires cut off now. All right. Are we about ready to start taking motors off? Let's just get this up here. Get some of these wires out of the way. More wires, more wires, more wires. Okay, so let's talk about this plate here, what I might use this plate for. So this is a heated plate, which of course, a heated plate to me is worthless in terms of 3D printing, because you might as well just buy a printer that's got the heated plate. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this heated plate, let me pull it up so you can see under it. So this is just a piece of glass on top. And then this part here, this has a little temperature sensor. How's it work, Kevin? Oh no, here it is. So, sorry, my bad. This is the, there's a couple of solder points here. That you send 12 volts through this, and this plate heats up, and it heats up evenly. So keep that in mind. And here's a temperature sensor. So what I'd like to do is just build a box that has that plate, the temperature sensor, all built into it, just for drying filament, for drying 3D printing filament. So that's the use for the first thing there. It should be incredibly easy to implement. Just a quick thermostat, maybe a PID program on a Arduino, just to keep it a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. Should be a no-brainer. So, okay, now let's see. You know what I did not bring out? Wow, I did not bring out a Phillips screwdriver. What was I thinking? One moment, please. Is there anybody else here today? Is there literally nobody else watching the stream? That's disappointing, because I marketed it twice as much as I did last week. I know last week it was just all friends wanting to see my first stream. But I was kind of hoping for a little more action. I guess it's only 1:30, got an hour and a half. I know that there were some people that joined late because they had something going on until 2 or something, so we'll keep that in mind. Where are my clippers now? Did you guys see where I put my clippers? I have ADHD. That's why I don't know where my clippers are. So, okay, so underneath here, there is a little thing that's an idler that is, oh, that's loose too. Yay! That keeps this belt tight. So now that that belt's not tight, theoretically I can just pull it off of the stepper motor here. Sorry about the jiggle. Theoretically, keep hitting the camera. There we go. There we go. Now we just gotta figure out where the last screw is to finish taking that apart. There it is. So this is a NEMA 14 stepper. And the oddest damn thing about the NEMA specifications for steppers is that the specifications not only mean nothing, They're not even accurate in what little they do mean. So, a NEMA 14, get this unplugged here. Okay, let's do this. So a NEMA 14 is not a power rating. It's not like it's a 357 engine or whatever. It's not even metric. You would think that a NEMA 14 might be 14 millimeters or 14 centimeters, and it's not. A NEMA 14 just means that is 1.4 inches between mounting holes. That doesn't even specify anything larger than the mounting hole, like the place where you put it in. So, like the hole you need to assemble it into. It's just a NEMA 114 is just 1.4 inches from hole to hole to hole, and that's it. You can buy them that are really long. They have tons more electricity in them. They have more torque. There's so many other specs, but they're kind of sold as NEMA 14, 17. I don't know. Let's see here. NEMA 11, 14, 17, 23, 23/24, 2.3 or 2.4 inches. NEMA 34. But you also have to specify a holding torque, a rated current, a step angle, lead count. There's so much more to it. But really, it's just measuring how far the holes are apart on NEMAs. So there you go. So I now have my second NEMA stepper motor off of there. The first one, of course, was in that other project I showed you last week. I believe there are 5 total. So there's going to be, let's see here. There's 2 at the top there. And then, so there's 2 for the Z-axis. There's 1 for the X-axis, 1 for the Y-axis, and then a 5th one to feed. This feeds the filament down into the hot head. So Kevin, if you wanted to know, the gears never wore out. I never had to replace a gear. There was never any play coming into the gears. So thankful for that. Oh, yeah. Kevin was just mentioning in comments that these actually work backwards as well. That if you put something that's going around here, like a windmill or water, what do they call those? Water wheels. What do they call those? When you put a mill on a river. Anyway, a mill wheel. As this turns, it will actually generate electricity back. Oh, who am I talking to? There we go. If you put something spinning here, wind or a bicycle or a water wheel or whatever, then that will convert that kinetic energy back into electricity here. So you could use them as a windmill motor, or a way to recharge batteries while you're riding your bike or something like that. Okay, there's my clippers. What is next? Well, I'd really like to get this thing out of the way. I'm so glad there's a tight close-up of something up in that corner of the screen that I'm using for nothing. Let's, since we're talking about them, I'm going to go ahead and put a stepper motor on my close-up camera. so you can kind of get a sense. Ew. Kind of what size we're looking at here. So I'm going to work on getting this part apart here. So these have dried and cracked. These are dried and cracked, Kevin. So that's a lot of the misalignment was coming just from the static parts that hold things together, just eventually drying out and cracking. So I should be able to pull off. Or not. Oh, I still have a belt somewhere. Oh, the belt's actually tied to the bottom of this plate. That's how it moves around. Okay. So I wonder if I can just unscrew. I don't want to cut the belt. All right, let's get them off the back. Yeah, all four of those are broken. All four of the things that hold these rods in are broken. 3 out of the 4 are broken. The x-axis limiter is just flopping around there. I mean, there was a lot that needed to be tightened up and remade. So these rods will be nice to use for exactly what they're being used for here, and that is as a guide rod with a sliding bearing over them. So if I'm creating something with a gantry for the Dremel to cut out my foam, EVA foam is what it's called, then I can have one thing driving it and use these to hold the edges to keep it from flopping around. That'll be nice. Let's take a break, and I just want to show you that real quick, what they're using now instead of threaded rod. So if you're not using a belt to move your thing around in 3 space, you're using these ball screw things, which are really cool. I mean, if you see that I've got these bearings here, which are just kind of sliding on this rod, but this is a completely different take on that. The rods are actually threaded, and the things that slide on them have a bunch of ball bearings in them. And that way, as this thing slides, not only is it very smooth, it's also very, very predictable where this mount is going to be. So that you can still turn this threaded rod just like the x-axes are doing on this printer, but when you move something up and down, there's not the slop that there is in just a standard nut and bolt thread. Don't know if that makes sense. Maybe I'll clip that later and put more illustrations in. Okay, so now that this is just sitting here, I should be able to kind of flip it over and unscrew the belt, maybe. I could just take off the back piece. Welcome to HDD. Welcome to HDD. Welcome to ADHD. I've got a Phillips screwdriver. I just dropped. Oh, wait. Oh, those are nuts. The screws are on top. You should have mentioned that, Kevin. Wow. How's my sound, Kevin? It's a completely different setup than it was last time. I've got a large diaphragm mic sitting over here, and it's just trying to pick up everything. I've got the gain on it cranked. Hopefully it's not distorting or picking up too much furnace noise or whatever. But all right. Oh, that mounting actually served as the joiner for the ends of the belt. So now I've got that belt. I guess I could have just cut the belt, but and a bunch of hardware on the floor. And there's the heat sensor, and then this is the kind of bearing. Let me go over here and put this under the macro. All right, I think I have a macro view. Yeah. So that's the bearing, and basically what that is it's a round piece of stainless with some plastic fingers inside of it. It's called a feather bearing, right, Kevin? Anybody? Wow, by the number of people here, you would think I wasn't even live streaming or advertising to anybody. Anyway, so I've got some of those bearings. I don't think I'm going to hang on to the 3D printed pieces that hold them, because I think they're probably really old and dry now and probably pretty easy to find or make a model of one. So I don't think that's worth necessarily hanging on to. This big heavy wire here was to carry current to the heating element, and that was basically like an 18 gauge lamp cord. Which we won't need. I've got plenty of that. And then this last bit of wire is just the signal cable for the temperature sensor. So all we need to do is get this out, and then I can pull. There's another useful thing there. It's a temperature sensor. So I will reuse that in the filament drying mechanism. That should be fun. All right. And I'm not even sure. Yeah, I might save those nuts and bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it down and grab that hardware after the stream, because I'm not sure I have that many little nuts and bolts. I will after this, because holy crap, there's a crap ton of them. Just little bitty nuts and bolts everywhere. And a bunch of them fell on the floor too. All right. I would take a break and do some commercial messages for Shiny Squirrel Club. But it looks like I literally have a streamer. Let's does this tell me how many people are on? Looks like there's 3 people watching on YouTube. One of those is my wife, one of those is me. And there's one person on Twitch, and that is me. And then there's Kevin. So, I'm not bitter, no. I keep having to wake up my DSLR. Because it's timing out, because it's not actually filming anything. I don't think it was timing out the last time, but oh well. All right. Yeah, let's just see if we can get this carriage off of here. When I bought this from Kevin, he actually gave me a second spare carriage, which, looking at how much this is broken underneath, let me not do that. Yeah. Which, judging by how much this is broken underneath, this is broken off, this is broken off, this is broken off. I really needed to replace that carriage, and I was about to, but then I realized how many things were wrong. And it's not wrong because of something Kevin did, wrong because the plastic just got old, and eventually things got out of date, and you know, it is what it is. So here I've got the filament, so you still see a little bit of filament there. The filament feeder, pull this back, feed in the filament, take out the filament. This motor feeds the filament in. And then there's a bearing over here, so I might actually keep this as a unit, but not for feeding, but for because there's a gear and some bearings and a matching gear that I could use to drive something at what looks to be 3 or 4 to 1 speed. I might just hang on to that, take some of that apart, leave the rest of it together, then figure out later what I want to do with it. But I would hate to lose what is already set up and matched, in terms of at least being able to measure it and make a new one in a 3D program, as opposed to just simply using this. But you know, I don't want to reinvent the wheel necessarily. So currently I'm struggling with trying to loosen screws to get this piece of belt off of here. I feel like I ordered something the other day with a belt, and there were belt joiners included in the package, but I might have been dreaming. I might have been just watching a BigClive.com video where he got that, and I just assimilated it into my life. But all right, like Megan Mullaley's character from Will and Grace, when she's talking about trauma that happened to her, then you realize she's just describing the movie Speed, and it didn't actually happen to her. Kevin said it took him 2 weeks working every day after work till late at night to put this all together. I would imagine. I don't know that I would have. I would almost rather sort of invent, I say that in air quotes, this, that is, build something small, make it work, build something a little bit bigger, make it work. That iterative process is a lot easier for me than here somebody else has already iterated through it. Go ahead and build what they built. So I mean, I could, but I'd almost rather, like I did with my second 3D printer, just buy something pre-built. I just think the joy versus time expenditure in putting together a massive kit of something is not my cup of tea. It's not what trips my trigger. Look, I spent all this time building something else that somebody else did. It's not an insult to you, Kevin. I mean, I understand. And if there was no other way to have a 3D printer, then yes, I mean, do that. So I think there are technologies that I want that I don't adopt because right now they're too much work, and I'm going to wait for somebody to release a version for sale that's got all the work done for me, like, or for use. Like, I think it would be great to have a thumb drive that had a uncensored AI agent on it. I think that would be cool, and I think if I spent enough months researching how to do that, I could do that. But now, at least one person, if not two, has already created that. where you just go to GitHub, you download it, you install it, and you've got a thumb drive that has an uncensored AI on it, and you can use it in your PC and your Mac. I don't know how that works. I think it basically recompiles special pieces of the kernel to run the kernel, special pieces of itself to run the Python that's on disk, or on disk in terms of being on the thumb drive. And I think that's really cool, but I wouldn't have spent the time doing it, just because it doesn't have that return for me. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing where I just don't. I'm interested in a project, but if I take too much time building that project, I'm going to lose interest. And there's going to be a bunch of stuff laying around that I never finished, which I think is the part and parcel of sort of the being of how ADHD is experienced by a lot of people, is projects started but not finished. When I was young and there was no internet, I would get interested in a topic, but to do anything about it, you would have to buy a bunch of stuff and try it. So the way I would try to not do that was I would buy magazines about the subject, or I would check out books from the library, and I would read as much about it as I possibly could. And sometimes that would just be enough information that I'm done. I've learned that. I don't actually need to do it. I don't need that to be necessarily a part of my life. I mean, one of them was bicycle racing, like Tour de France racing, and I was really into it for a few months, and somebody even bought me a helmet and gloves and as a gift, which was nice, but ultimately I'm like, yeah, I'll never do it. I'll never be good at it. I understand how it works, but really I'm probably more interested in something else at this point. So right now I am taking off the Arduino. So now I have another Arduino Mega I can use for something. That I got for the low price of $300. Not the Arduino, this whole thing. I mean, there's so many pieces on here that literally, I honestly think that if I went out and bought all the pieces here that I could use, the Neewer motor, the Arduino, the ramps board, the heated plate, threaded rod, holy crap, not cheap. Raw retail hardware store or Amazon cost, I'm looking at probably $300 worth of usable parts that I can take and use for something, as opposed to I bought them, they were useful together as a cohesive unit, but not useful now. And that's what I love about sort of the maker mentality is, it's kind of like Lego. I think Lego and maker go together hand in hand that way, in the sense that I got a bunch of pieces and I can make something. Isn't that cool? I can now tear it apart and take all those pieces and make something else. I mean, I think that's just really cool. I have a lot of crap laying around waiting to be in a project, I admit, but very, very few things are special to a specific project. I mean, yes, I have done that, like that temperature sensor I just pulled off is specifically for something, and there's not a lot of other things I could use it for unless I was making a beer fridge or whatever, or a cheese fridge. My wife was wondering if I could make her a cheese fridge out of an old mini fridge I have, and I might do that with a temperature and humidity sensor and try to make it, like a humidor but for cheese. So I'll save it and I'll look at it. I was like, I know what that's for. I know what that project is for. But a lot of times, like the stuff I sorted through last week, I'll just look at it and go, oh, there's so many things I could do with this. What I'd really love to do is have a community, like a streaming community, YouTube community, where people suggest to me, like I can suggest, here's these 15 projects I want to do. And people are like, well, these two would probably be the best. Also, you can make them cooler by doing this, and then I can do them. And that's really the kind of community I want to build. Is this, again, ADHD driven, just but just, yeah, that's cool. And you know what else would be cool is we added this to it. I'm not going to be one of those guys who says, nope, this is my project. This is what I have. It's in my mind. I'm going to make it this way. Especially if I haven't even started it yet. I hate to finish a project. Just somebody goes, well, you should have done this, Kevin. You've never done that to me. But anyway, but if it's before things started and you get a chance to discuss, then that's really cool. Because I know for a fact that I can't ideate, I can't build, I can't write on my own and have something good. I need the feedback from some other source. I'm good at rewriting things. I'm good at rewriting things that are supposed to be funny to make them funnier, or telling you where a plot hole is in a script or something. But to write a script from scratch, I don't know that that's in the cards. But screenwriting, of course, is one of the many ADHD obsessions I've had. But now that I've got AI, don't shoot me, but AI is a really nice sounding board for things. It's like, I've got this idea. I think it's a cool idea. And then if you tell the AI not to be sycophantic and say, yes, all of your ideas are good, my lord, and actually be critical and tell me why it's kind of fucked up and won't work, then you can really build better things just by having this sort of objective, if nothing else, proofreading algorithm for your ideas. I really think that a lot of people that have a problem with AI, other than how much resources it takes to run it, and the fact it might, take it over one day, put those two things aside, a lot of people are like, I hate AI, and honestly what they're saying is they hate AI slop. They hate unchecked things that an AI has created and no human has even given a critical eye to, or vibe coding in the same way that nobody has said, like when I use an AI for coding, I'm constantly going back saying, okay, I'm going to look at every single character that you have written, and we're going to make sure it's doing the right thing and it's the way I would have done it, or the best way to have done it. I will never, ever, ever release code into the wild that's been written by AI and I've never looked at and not tested. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it's really all, and the same thing with a screenplay. I mean, you could say, hey, AI, write a screenplay. And I think people are doing that for, like Kindle romance novels are being generated by AI, and they're barely even being vetted by the author who asked for them to be written by AI. Where the heck did my drink go? Welcome to my world. Oh, there it is. Where was I? Oh yeah, that was yeah, I'm seeing your stuff in the chat, Kevin. It's just that there's literally nobody else here, and I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to send some guilt messages to people. Anyway, what will happen will happen. So I would love to take a couple of screenplay ideas I've had and run them past AI and just say, hey, how would I flesh this out? How can I get the rest of the way? How can I get to 120 pages with this? And not have it write it, but just have it say, if you eliminated this plot line or added this part of a twist here, you might find that it kind of writes itself or whatever. I don't know. if you're seeing this in the future, and you look in the description, you'll see a link to a NEMA 14 stepper on Amazon. You don't have to buy it, but it would be really nice if somebody clicked on that link to tell Amazon that, yes, I'm linking and don't turn me off in the program. Because they threatened to a little while back. I think somebody has clicked on one since then, but I'm not sure. Because they will shut down my Amazon affiliate program if nobody ever clicks on a link, if they think I'm never publishing a link to the affiliate program. So that'd be cool. You know, just whatever. All these nuts are loose. Wow, there's been a lot of stuff to tighten up here. Yeah, these pieces are just crumbling. It was time. It was definitely time to retire it. I mean, I have what's technically an old generation printer now. But it serves me well. I'm going to try to tune it a little bit up so I can get really fine details, but I just haven't got to it. I'm getting tired. Yeah, well, the problem with YouTube having a checkbox to not recommend AI content is it's really, really hard to define AI content. I mean, yes, there's a checkbox you can do when you process your video that says some of the content in this video is generated by AI, but you can't edit in Premiere Pro anymore without using AI. You don't even know you're using it. Like if you tell it to look at some colors or take some noise out of some audio, there's really no way to do it. Like a tool that used to work some other way now works with AI. And what do? Not use that tool anymore out of principle? Okay, so I've used a tool, which I do in every one of my videos, to reduce noise in my vocals, in my speech. Okay, great. Now what? Is that now an AI video? Do you want to not see that video? Is that AI slop? That's what I'm talking about. Yes, if there was a checkbox for AI slop, I'm all for it. But there's just way too much gray area. I mean, yeah, I can tune into a video. Yes, this is AI slop. I don't want to see it. But to say because somebody's checked a box that there's some AI content doesn't make it an AI slop video. You know, you'd almost have to have a way of detecting that it's pure AI, low effort, which YouTube already has rules about that. But I don't know. I'm seeing that as a slippery slope. That, you know, if you can just ban all AI content, even for your own viewing, what are you really doing? Are you know, I don't know. Because I would argue that any modern, effective, efficient YouTube content is going to have some element of AI. Even if it's, I asked AI to proofread my script, you know, or I asked AI to give me a better title for SEO. I mean, I don't know. You have to have a really strong argument for what that checkbox does and what it means before you just implement a checkbox. You know, I mean, because I know what you're seeing. I know what you're seeing. I click off of this video all the time. I hate them. I hate that they're being made. I hate that they're being published. But hey, those clippers don't work anymore. That's what I get for buying clippers on AliExpress. Um, I just don't think you can. Um, I don't. I. I mean, you'd almost have to say, check this box if your video is AI slop, and there's no effort, and I mean, and nobody's going to do that, and nobody's even going to really know that they've done it. I mean, there are people who are doing it, like, yeah, and make lots of money just by having AI create your videos. Okay, I get it, and those people should go. But I mean, I think the phraseology. I think the phraseology of no content with AI is worrisome. So, I mean, I don't know. You get into Hitler's. If I hate to evoke Hitler, but you know, you could get sent to a death camp if you looked Jewish. You could get your video banned if it's just a little bit AI because it needed to be a little bit AI. And I think the idea I had many years ago about determining truth on the internet, which is people. Yeah, I know they have the checkbox, but what does it mean? I checked it once because I had it do a visual effect from one scene to the next. Am I supposed to check the AI checkbox if I just use it for a fancy dissolve? I don't know. I mean, and that's certainly an honor system. What I'm saying is, I think everybody should vote. I think this is AI slop, or I don't think this is AI slop. And if it passes a certain threshold of people who think it's AI slop, then it gets suppressed from your list. I think it has to be judged. I don't think it can be self-reported. I'm not sure that an AI can tell you that this content is created by AI or not. It's way too hard of a question to answer. Yeah, exactly. So if I recorded an original song for the beginning and end of my purely AI video, but the song was my own, is that a purely AI video? I don't know if that counts. I need some more clippers. I'll be right back. So, yeah, there is no easy solution, which is exactly what I was saying when you say, I can't wait for that checkbox. It's like, I don't think it's going to happen because what you're talking about is something that must have had an easy solution. Just, that's why I'm saying is, years ago, I had the notion of you're reading an article, and if you think it's flawed, then you report it to some central repository of truth, and they keep tabs on what people thought are true or not. And if you're an expert in a certain field and you can prove you're an expert in a certain field, maybe your vote has a higher ranking. But anyway, this one's going to take me the whole 2 hours. I had another activity planned, but I'm not going to get to it. I actually brought down my Dremel and some cutters, some cutting whatever bits, and that foam, and I was going to see how well it actually cut and whether it was even a reasonable thing to try to do. Shorts are not a crime, Kevin. They may not be your preference. I know how you like long form of anything, but shorts are not evil. They're not criminal. Shorts are shorts. They are what they are. If you're not one for short form video, then yeah, I think you should probably be able to suppress them. But I don't think there's anything wrong with shorts. I think you have a better argument for the vast majority of people don't want to see AI slop. Let's create a checkbox for that. Then you're not saying the vast majority of people don't want to see shorts. You're saying you don't want to see shorts. I get that. But yeah, it's not even the same subject. Wow. You're on YouTube, right? Yeah, you're on YouTube. And I'm looking at my Twitch feed. It's out there. And I'm still at 1 viewer. I appreciate it, man. But I wanted to get rid of this printer for a long time, and I wanted to do a stream about it, and that's great. And the last time, Restream actually sent me some samples of what it would do if I paid it to make viral shorts out of my streaming. And it actually did a pretty good job. I don't know if I'm going to pay it, but to go back through my stream and look for things I could cut into shorts, I might do that. But you'll never see them because you don't like shorts. But other people might, and it would serve as promotion for my next stream or for my channel or whatever. So, wow. I'm going to make a loud noise here real quick. Nope, that's not going to happen. Okay. All right. I'm getting somewhere. Wow, I didn't realize that idler wasn't any sort of an idler. It's just some washers and a bearing. That's pretty neat. Was that the Prusa design for those bearings? Because that's really a cool idea. I mean, as many as there are on this thing, I'm guessing it's a Prusa design, but this is, and I'm not even working slow because I'm on a stream. I'm working quick, and I'm still not close to done. Okay, so I love these clippers. Got these at Tractor Supply at some point, but they're compound, and man, boy, they cut about anything small at least. I mean, you could probably trim trees with them, but the jaws aren't big enough. But as far as the strength goes, all right. I wonder if I can just lower these both at the same time. Oh wait, is there a nut under there? Be able to pop that nut out. What's keeping this on? I think I'm gonna, I don't know why that camera was cut to, but I think I'm just going to crank these down. There's just nuts in the bottom of these two brackets here. Well, there was always OpenSCAD. OpenSCAD predates that. I love me some OpenSCAD. I guess I could just take off these mounts. Cool. All right. Shit. All right. Now, we're just going to take these off. It'd be even faster if I put it in high mode. Did you make these couplers? Or were these part of the original design? Yeah, that's for sure. All right, what are we doing here? Oh, I do the other side. All right. How close are we to doing this? Oh, yeah, okay. The things I'm taking off right now is what you made to keep them from falling off the shafts, right? I remember that. I was thinking that's what that was. Those pieces that were cutting were the ones that you added. Nima. Nima, Nima, yay. Nima, 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 yay. Nima, 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 yay. Nima, Nima, yay. Nima, 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 yay. Hello? Hello? Can I get copyright strikes singing a song? Disconnect them, Numa, Numa, yay. Nima, Nima, yay. Nima, 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 yay. Let that go viral, you one single streaming watcher. Ah. Well, it is, the day before the 4th of July. I'm sure people aren't in their normal routines. They're probably not sitting at their desk going, hey, I can watch Rick while I work. Honestly. I'm just going to rationalize it that way. Because it makes me feel good. What makes you feel good, Kevin? Oh, they did? That's cool. You're famous. Oh, I love having extra bearings. I love bearings. I don't know why, I just love bearings. Because I might use them someday. I certainly have enough threaded rod the right size. So, here's the question now. Oh, it's because there's 2 nuts in there. Oh, that's pretty sly. There's a nut there, and then there's a nut down in there. You can't see that. But anyway, so I'm literally going to have to unscrew these out of here. I was hoping I could just knock out one of the nuts, but... Oh. Let's work smarter, not harder. I'm getting punchy. Alrighty. Look how smart I am, Mom. Yeah, until... I have a sinking feeling that this is going to draw blood. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm doing something dangerous because I have ADHD. I'm excited about this solution. And whew! Oh, there's even a spring in there to take out the slop. Oh, that's how it took out the slop. So that spring, folks, was this. Let's see here. So there was a spring here, like this, between 2 nuts, and that's what keeps the what's it called? Thrashing out. It's not called thrashing. It's some odd thing. Hey Google, what's it called when a thread can't be measured both ways because it moves around in the nut?
That phenomenon is typically referred to as backlash.
Backlash.
It happens
Thank
when
you,
there's
Google.
a small gap between
Okay, Google, shut up.
and the nut.
Yeah, backlash. It's called backlash.
All right.
I knew it. I knew it had a name, and the name wasn't intuitively obvious. But apparently, I gave Google enough of a hint that it knew what I was talking about, which is remarkable because I was just rambling random words. Now, where's my Phillips bit? Did I just throw it somewhere? I don't. Where'd the Phillips bit go? All right. Well, we won't worry about going right now until I find my Phillips bit. Because losing tools is the way to the shiny Squirrel Club. All right. Nut spring nut. Bring out your nut springs. Let them shine wherever you go. Howdy. Now I've lost my crescent wrench. If you're watching this later and you want to join the Shiny Squirrel Club, delightful. There went my entire tiny toolbox. Send me an email to Rick at Shiny Squirrel Club. It's right there, and I'll send you a membership card, and you can be a member of the Shiny Squirrel Club. Right? Card looks like this, and or you go to ShinySquirrel.club. Take a look at the website. I have a Patreon at members.shinysquirrel.club. Oh, that just comes right out. Yay. If you'd like to become a patron, that would be great. I have no patrons right now because I haven't been pushing it. Because I feel unworthy. No, actually, just so many things to try to start a YouTube and streaming presence. It's just so many things to do if you want to remotely do anything right. So, yeah, I'll be pushing that a little bit more. Oh, look at that giant mess on the floor. I'm really baffled about that Phillips bit. Okay, so there's my crescent wrench. That's a plus. And here's my channel locks. That's cool. More bearings. That would be cool if I didn't just spill all my other bearings out of my toolbox a minute ago. Put those down there. More nuts and bolts. That's cool. Anybody see a Phillips bit for a drill? Just holler out in the chat. You know, all one of you. Oh yeah. I might use this platform to mount the Dremel foam cutter on. It's just the perfect size, I think, for what I want to do. I will probably reuse the power supply too for that. I might just leave the power supply on there. Oh, I know. It was there kind of as a joke, I think. Let's take a look at the eye in the sky cam. And filters, color. I cranked up the contrast. Is that better? Yeah, that should be better. I guess I can always go back and watch the live stream to find out where I put that drill bit, but I'm sure it'll show up. Join the club. Please clap. I think I've got a little magnet picker-upper thing that would really help with all the hardware I just spilled on the floor. Yeah. I actually put, oh, there it is. I found it. I actually put additional foam discs under your photograph, your turntable wheels, because the turntable wheels did a great job at keeping it balanced and keeping the internal structure from vibrating itself, but they didn't actually insulate from, and I had it on a hard desktop and it was loud, so I cut like 4 discs of that EVA foam and put under each of the feet too, to insulate the sound, not as much as the stability and the evenness that you'd put the other feet on it for. All right, so now 23 minutes. See how far I can get in 23 minutes. I posted a post on YouTube about the live stream, and you can now, unless they've turned it off, I don't know if you've turned yours off, Kevin. Yeah, I went out and hunted down a font that looked like a Chiron, just to put that. I should have done Shiny Squirrel Club in all caps. I think that would have been a lot more 1961 than doing the upper and lowercase. I might change that for the next time. What was I saying? When the stream catches up, let me know what I was just talking about. I have to do something about that. All right. So I was saying I had 22 minutes. See if I can get this wrapped up. I don't know. I think what I might start doing with live streams is to actually just start making videos. And when some of the video requires research or trial and error or discovering something that's not very cinematic but more conversational, I might just do a live stream and conquer that. Like, for instance, last week's live stream, I ended up reviewing a product I thought that did one thing. I didn't review it, I tried to use it, and it didn't friggin' work. That Phantom Power USB, but now I have that experience and that footage to go back and finish my AliExpress video on buying that. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Not necessarily make these specific event driven as much as doing the research required to make videos. If that makes sense. And even if it doesn't make sense, I'm still going to do that. Nylon nuts are good if you want to keep them on, but when it comes time to pull them off, they're annoying. Nylon nuts, the savior of society. Micro switch. I've got to get a micro switch. We're just going to put that micro switch. This was an access limiter, and we're just going to put it right there. I really like my little CSI measurement things that I printed them off from somewhere. I don't remember where I got them, but I got a bunch of them. They're kind of neat. And I got them just for this, for live streaming. And then I can put something down and you kind of see how big something is. or how somebody murdered somebody with a micro switch, or, you know, whatever. Hey Google, can I get a copyright strike on YouTube if I'm just singing a song that's copywritten and just like while I'm doing something else? Will they strike me for that?
There seems to be an issue. When you're ready, you can try it again.
Singing or asking you a question? Google AI, or Google Assistant with the plus AI is so stupid. It's like, why'd you switch to an AI when you can actually answer fewer questions than Google Assistant did? And I ask you about your own settings, and you have no idea how the app works. It's just like, what? Just give me the old Assistant back, which you can't revert to. Yay. Thank you, Google. But from a software standpoint, I can understand not being able to revert. That probably would have been a lot of time and money to write something that allowed people to revert. I mean, yes, I know they want to push people to their AI platform, but I'm not paying any more for an AI guy on my assistant, so I don't know where they're making money at that. All right, a little more wire. A little more action, a little less conversation. No, you'll be sued by Elvis. We can't go on together with suspicious minds. Yeah, I think it's a July 3rd thing. I really do. That was a rationalization 10 minutes ago, but now I'm really thinking that July 3rd, people got booted out of work early, or they went on vacation early and they just don't have, it's like, no, because streaming things are good for where you're working, and for when you're working, you just have them on in the background. I personally can't work that way because my ADHD was, if there's words coming from different places, so words coming from the programming part of my brain and words coming from the music or the live stream or whatever, they compete so bad. I can't perform either one. If I'm having a conversation with somebody in a restaurant and there's music on, I can't. Oh, you know, those nuts and bolts might actually hold those micro switches together. Probably should have thought of that. So this micro switch is kind of falling apart because I took both nuts and bolts out of it. Alas. All right, a couple more screws here. And of course, they are nylon. Yay. I'm glad I'm not boring too many people, and I'm really glad you're here, Kevin, if you are still here. Yeah, that's very true. sometimes I have an instinct to turn on subtitles when somebody's talking to me, or occasionally I'll pull out my remote control and try to turn them up. If I'm sitting in my chair in the living room, I mean, I tried to turn up my wife before because I couldn't quite hear her. Kind of funny. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Well, what if you don't think about it? It's still funny? That is a quote from somewhere, and I have no idea. I have no idea. What if you don't think about it? Could be from anywhere. I'm going to have an AI track that down for me, I think. Little pop culture shit that you can never look up anywhere. You just have to either know where it's from or not know it. Like the other day, I knew that there was a conversation in the movie Broadcast News about how to read news copy, and it had to do with punching nouns or verbs or something. And it took whatever AI I was using quite a bit to finally find it, but I ended up finding the script, and it knew that it was actually talking about punching the first word of every sentence and the first sentence of every paragraph. And I actually found the quote, which was really satisfying because I'd been wondering about it for a couple of years. Did anybody see where I put my drill? Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, I think one of the versions of Meta Glasses does it already. They also do translation, which just blows my mind. Because you could be talking to somebody, it would be translating what they're saying into text. And I think subtitles and text translation is just, I think it is to me, the key value proposition of like a Google Glass or a Meta Ray-Ban. It's that. It's communication, not AR, and not being smarter while you're walking down the street. It's a matter of communicating better with other people. Oh, I'm so close to being done. Let's see here. I'll pull your little controller off. What's in that controller? Is there actually an Arduino under there, or is it just going to an LCD in there? I mean, it's got the. I think it's got. Does yours have the SD card slot in here? Maybe not. There's a little speaker there. I'm really curious what's under there. But let's try to see if we just get this split in half. Oh wait, what's that? Oh man, more nuts. Craziness. Well, I will be back next week. I'm not 100% sure what I'll be doing, but I'll announce it before then. After the stream is over, I might see if cutting foam works. I just threw away a nut. Oh well. Or not, I don't know. I might just take the rest of the day as a vacation day because it's July 3rd after all. All right. I'm so sorry. But here it goes. Oh, it does have an SD card in there. What is that? Is that a dedicated display? And did you lose a screw? Oh. Is that part of the ramps board application? Oh, so it's kind of a dedicated thing. You know what? Oh, there's my phone. And that's still recording. I am going to Google Lens this and see if it's a known thing or whether it was a Prusa invention. Let's see what Google Lens thinks it is. It's a RepRap discount full graphics smart controller. Huh, it's a RepRap thing. RepRap discount? Alright. Oh yeah. And it says that it hooks to your ramps or your Rambo board. It's got an SD card slot. It's got a potentiometer that's contrast. There is. That's data selection. That's weird. I could have an Electro ESP32 e-ink display. That's relevant and clearly the same thing. All right. So I've got that. I've got these. Can't wait to figure out what the protocol is that and use it for something else. Maybe even the vinyl cutter. Oh, ow. My ribs hurt, my back hurts. What a drag it is getting old. I need to go running for the shelter of Mother's Little Helper. Though I'm not sure what that is or if they sell it anymore. An earlier rotary retail encoder. Alright. I just realized I did that whole phone thing and you couldn't see it. Or maybe you could. I don't even know. Okay. So, a few more big nuts. Oh, speaking of big nuts, I forgot that I brought down ratchet wrenches. So those are 13 halves. 13 halves is what those things are. You know what I mean? A 13.5 inch are the same size. So they're interchangeable. I could be using an SAE half or a metric 15 for this. I'm guessing that they're 13. I think everything on this thing is metric. Well, there's a neat idea. Same idea I had before, but didn't realize it applied here. But just now. Okay, that'll come off. Ah, 3 more nuts. I think I can get it apart. Nope. That's here. I can go over here. Over here. All right. I think this is becoming a nice place to end this stream right here. I have collapsed it. It is dead. It is dead. It's dead, 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 dead. Dead. Alright, well, thanks for tuning in. I will make an abbreviated version of this stream to publish back on YouTube, I think, because I think there's some cool pieces to this, and I might just put it into an editor and cut out all the boring stuff. So, until next week, or until I publish something on YouTube, later.